law that councils need to take an oath of office before. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Recon. Council is sitting in front of you here, not in power. In order to have power and do their delegate functions, they need to go through an oath of office, and we'll go through that right now. Without that oath of office, they are not in power. Everything lies on administration, and for the past 3 days, I have not been able to sleep because it's a heavy, heavy burden on my shoulders. So, having said that, we will proceed with the oath of office, and we will start with the mayor first, please. And read it.
I, Chris Ewan, do solemnly declare that I am a Canadian citizen, that I am of full age of 18 years, that I am an elector of the rural municipality of Richard, that I am a resident of the province of Manitoba, that I am not disqualified under any provision of the municipal act or any other act of the legislature from being a member of the council of the rural municipality of Richard, that I will act faithfully in the office of mayor without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the duties and responsibilities of that office. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath and by virtue of the Canada Evidence Act.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you. Mayor Ewan, everybody. Thank you. Next victim.
I, Janine Belanger, do solemnly declare that I am a Canadian citizen, that I am the full age of 18 years, that I am an elector of the rural municipality of Richard, that I am a resident of the province of Manitoba, that I am not disqualified under any provision of the municipal act or any other act of the legislature from being a member of the council of the rural municipality of Richard, that I will act faithfully in the office of councillor without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the duties and responsibilities of that office. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath, and by virtue of the Canada Evidence Act.
Thank you. And congratulations, Councillor Janine Belanger.
I, Shane Pelletier, do solemnly declare that I am a Canadian citizen, that I am the full age of 18 years, that I am an elector of the rural municipality of Richard, that I am a resident of the province of Manitoba, that I am not disqualified under any provision of the municipal act or any other act of the legislature from being a member of council of the rural municipality of Richard, that I will act faithfully in the office of councillor without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, the duties and responsibilities of that office. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath and by virtue of the Canadian Evidence Act.
Thank you, and congratulations, Councillor Shane. And to our two new elected recruits, who would like to go first? Go ahead.
Je suis signé Joël Lemoine, déclare solennellement que je suis citoyen canadien, que j'ai 18 ans accomplis, que je suis électeur de la municipalité de Richard, que je suis résident de la province du Manitoba, que je ne suis frappé d'aucune incapacité m'empêchant au terme de la loi des municipalités ou d'une autre loi de la législature d'occuper la charge de conseiller de la municipalité rurale de Richard, que je m'occuperai fidèlement et sans crainte, ni faveur, ni préjugés la charge comme conseiller et que j'exercerai les fonctions de cette charge avec loyauté, fidélité, impartialité et au mieux de ma capacité et de mes connaissances. Et je fais cette déclaration solennelle, croyant en conscience qu'elle est vraie et sachant qu'elle a la même force et le même effet que si elle était faite sous serment dans le cadre de la loi de la preuve au Canada.
Merci. Puis Félicitations, conseiller Joël Lemoine.
I, Jason Bonnerchuk, do solemnly declare that I'm a Canadian citizen, that I'm at the full age of 18 years, that I'm an elector of the rural municipality of Richot, that I'm a resident of the province of Manitoba, that I'm not disqualified under any provision of the Municipality Act or any other act of the legislature from being a member of council of the rural municipality of Richot, that I will act faithfully in the merit of councillor without fear, favor, or affection, and will truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the duties and responsibilities of that office. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true, and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath and by virtue of the Canadian Evidence Act.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councillor Jason. Your worship, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm glad we all struggled conscientiously, so that's good to know. I will, get, the meeting called to order here. No recording, correct, so Dominic, thank you. So we'll do, we did introductions already, but we also have with us our CEO, Mitch Duval, and we have with us in the background our Assistant CEO, Dominic Lemoine. So without further ado, I will, go to the agenda. Item number 1, meeting call to order. Do I have a mover? Councillor Janine Belanger, second. Councillor Joël Lemoine, thank you. Any comments before I call for the question? I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Since none, that's carried. Thank you. The meeting is open at 9:09 a.m. Item 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Bonnerchuk, thank you. Any edits or changes or additions to the agenda? Clear? Thank you. I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. Item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Belanger, second. Councillor Pelletier, thank you.
Last regular council meeting was held October 19th, whereby 3 variations, 2 conditional uses, subdivision, rezone, were passed by council. Also, an Efficiency Manitoba Advocate resolution was passed, as well as participating in the Southeast Regional Transit study was passed.
Thank you. We'll open up for council discussion. Any edits or changes to this agenda? Questions?
None here.
No? Okay, I will call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. Item 4.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bonnerchuk, second. Councillor Pelletier, thank you.
We have 2 batches in the accounts paid to be approved, batch 16581 in the total of $23,000, and an EFT batch in the amount of $2,200. Nothing to report on those.
I will open up for council discussion, questions for the CEO regarding finance.
None here.
Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That is carried. Thank you. 4.2, accounts now paid to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Belanger, thank you.
We have 3 batches, 16582 for a water refund, 16592, which is an electronic fund transfer in the amount of $1,700, as well as batch 16585 in the amount of $662,000 and change. That's the biggest batch. For the new councillors, there's always a summary batch provided for the bigger batches. That explains a little bit more into details as to what the batch is comprised of. We try to summarize things over $10,000. Not that anything under is not as valuable, but it becomes repetitious after a while. In that 662, a lot of those bills are for gravel and flood sites, and those flood sites will be recoverable from the province through the Disaster Financial Assistance Program. And Public Works on Thursday will be filling in more about the program and where the claims lie right now, so up-to-date status.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Is there any questions from council at this time? No? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, none, that's carried. I apologize, I'm losing my voice. I was screaming at little children last night at Halloween. Item 4.2.1, council indemnities. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Boulanger.
Indemnities for the month of October for council are as presented. No concerns regarding the hours put in.
Thank you. Any questions from council? None here. Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. 4.3 payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bondarchuk, second. Councillor Pelletier.
Payroll 21 is from October 9th to the 22nd. Council has a listing of the hours and overtime and bank time splits. Again, with construction season winding down, Public Works taking advantage of the beautiful weather to get what they need done as quickly as they can. Other than that, I have no other concerns about the matter.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? No? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. 4.4 CFO report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second. Councillor Bondarchuk, thank you.
Our CFO has presented council with a third quarter update ending September 30th as to the financial position of the RM. Overall, things look good. Say that with a grain of salt because of the Public Works Department and disaster financial assistance. So we'll have to be wary. Hopefully, at the end of the day, we will still be able to show surplus. Another part of the Public Works side of things is the fuel and operating costs. Given the fuel prices we are right now, will definitely be over budget as we did predict this in the spring. Other than that, the utilities are doing well, going into the fourth quarter, so far so good. And that's about it for now.
Perfect, thank you. I'll open it for council questions, comments.
Just the 90% of transportation, is that some of that's gonna be DFA coming back?
That is not including DFA. There's an amount of 970 some, I think, I believe, from what I last read. Again, the 90% is due to maintenance, fuel, sidewalks, a whole bunch of stuff listed in the report.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else from council? Nothing? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None? That's carried. Thank you. Moving into delegations. No, sorry, gas tax funding. 4.5 gas tax funding, GTF report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Boulanger, second. Councillor Pelletier.
This is the 2021 gas tax audited financial statements. As part of the federal agreement, the money needs to be kept in trust or in a separate reserve account and accounted for before other funds are released. So by going through the process and filing our 21 audited statements, we shall receive the second half of the gas tax dollars coming in.
Excellent, thank you. Is there any comments or questions from council? Nothing, okay. I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. Now moving into delegations. 5.1, we have Eco West. Coming up, Monsieur Robidoux.
Good morning.
Morning. And just so you know, and I'm sure you're very used to it, we limit to a 10 minutes delegation time, just so you know.
Not a problem.
I'm very stern on that too.
Yeah, we were forewarned, and we told, we advised the CEO that we'd be following the rules of the 5B, which are be brief, other be brief. So,
Go ahead.
So, Your Worship, thank you very much for allowing some time for us to meet with you today. My name is Danny Robidoux. I'm the Executive Director of Eco West Canada. Eco West is the newest and most recent subsidiary of the Association of Manitoba Bilingual Municipalities. And our role is essentially, we provide services to municipalities looking to do environmental economic development. Through COVID, there's been a fair bit of change in our organization, and part of the reason that we're requesting this meeting is also just to kind of bring up to speed as to who we are, what we're doing, especially with some new faces around the table. And, you know, although we are a member of the AMBM, a lot of the work that we are doing does not involve that many municipalities, so we figured it's upon us to kind of come and introduce ourselves to all of you, make you aware of the services that we offer, in the hopes that, you know, we'll be able to change that and start working with folks a lot more. So the type of work that EcoWest does, we focus mostly in three areas. Our electric vehicle initiatives, which we're happy to have been working with the Arm of Richot on for a number of years now, starting with the charging stations, which is continuing on in various forms, as well as the Southeastern Transportation Initiative that we're working with a number of municipalities east of the Red and south of the number one. So we're very happy to be able to work with you and continue working with the region. We've had some really good conversations with your economic development officer and other staff, and you know, there's a lot of interesting stuff that seems to be brewing here, and if we're able to assist in that regard, we very much be happy to do so. The other areas that we focus on are building retrofits and energy initiatives. We are currently working with 3 Bellingham municipalities as their energy efficiency advisors through the Efficiency Manitoba program, and that's one of the ways that we are trying to bolster EcoWest's operations is by continuing to offer that support and service to municipalities who choose to go down that route. If they choose to outsource those services, we are happy to be able to play a role in that regard. And a lot of that work that we're doing with the municipalities is right now trying to figure out the 40-some plus Efficiency Manitoba programs and how they kind of can be used as leverage for funding with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities funds, as well as other funding like the Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Fund. So that's the sort of work that we're involved in that area. And finally, we also work in the area of waste. So we've done a lot of work with municipalities around waste characterization and feasibility studies for technologies to look at how to transform waste to value add, whether it's composting and or waste to energy or other types of technologies. We've got a fair bit of experience in that area and assisting municipalities access funding for those types of programs. And when speaking with Ryan, there may be some interest in that area, depending on how things might be able to develop. So, in essence, those are the 3 areas that we work in. Part of our core service offerings, as well as you know, in order to generate revenues to keep the lights on, sort of thing, is we also assist municipalities in the development and of projects, as well as the writing and funding applications. So in a nutshell, that's really who we are at EcoWest. Although we are a national not-for-profit based in St. Boniface, one of our main challenges so far as a new entity has been to secure operational funding. So typically we work on a project basis and we're a fee-for-service agency, unlike some other organizations like our sister organization, who operates a bit differently than we do. But in general, that's how we're structured. We're happy to be a member of the newest member of the AMBM, and we'd be happy to be able to work with the RMHS moving forward in this new term for all your counselors. So that's essentially what we wanted to come here and present. Is just this is who we are, and we're very, very keen and look forward to the opportunities of hopefully working with your municipality in the future.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I know this side of the table is pretty familiar with EcoWest. If you guys have any questions, new councilors, do you have any questions with some of the projects or anything going on in Richot or opportunities that we can see going forward?
I'm just looking forward to working with Brian and you and getting some of the environmental things looked after. A few projects I've got in mind that we can partake in and hopefully get Hydro on board with some of the hurdles that we currently face with that.
Great. Thank you.
Is there, any, not to get into all the programs, but is there like pressing programs that end March 31st that we should be aware of that would be beneficial?
Not necessarily March 31st, but in the next, in 2024 is essentially, there's some programs that are wrapping up. It may be, those may be kind of a rush to jump into, unless you've got something on the books pre-cooked and ready to roll. Then in general, especially with the FCM, those are ongoing, and, we've just met with them yesterday, and Manitoba is hugely undersubscribed to their programs. So the more that we can start applying for sustainable affordable housing, building the community building retrofits program and others, it's almost, if you can show a pulse, you'll be able to get some funds, so as long as you can ask, right? And typically, we've not been good at asking in the prairies, and that's kind of why EcoWest was set up, is to assist in that area.
So, does adding a charging station into my personal garage count? That's very pressing for us.
Yeah, it's,
Where was your oak?
Oh, yeah. Inside it, actually,
if it can be available to the public, it could qualify.
No,
In that regard, though, we do, one of the programs that we are currently offering is we were selected as a third-party delivery agency for the Natural Resources of Canada, for which we have funding available to municipalities and others, businesses as well, who are looking to install charging stations. So that funding is for level 2 charging stations. We match 50% of the funds up to $5,000 per connector hit.
Excellent.
So, I know that, we are in talks with Ryan to see how to make that fit for some of the ideas that are floating around here, so, and again, we were committed under that program to assist me in purchase and installation of 100 level 2 charging stations. We've gone through 2 rounds of applications so far. There's about 30 or 40 left, so, we're just, if you've got any businesses in your communities or different centers or whatnot that are looking to install these things, we've got funding right now, so please send them our way.
Awesome. Councilor Belashi, you're going to say something?
Yeah, so does EcoWest, I think you touched on it a little bit, take an assessment of the municipalities and see how they're doing environmental, like how's Richard doing?
Yeah.
As far as, being kind to the environment.
So what we've done, the assessment that we've conducted for pretty much all the municipalities was to conduct a climate change local action plan process, where we measure greenhouse gas emissions for the municipality.
Oh, okay, great.
Both on the residential and on the municipal side of things. So that was done a number of years ago. That said, that process and the document that was created for just at that time, are still quite valuable, because that's the document that is required in order to more easily access funding from the FCM for the other types of initiatives that you'd like to put attention to pursue, whether it be feasibility studies, pilot projects, capital projects. So, you have the foundation in order to capitalize on a lot of the funding opportunities. But it's been a while since we've conducted a greenhouse gas emissions inventory per se for the municipality to see how things are moving.
So will you be updating that, or is it?
We can be, but then that's one of the services that we offer, but
Okay.
We'd love to. But again, that would come at a fee, and we have to discuss what that would look like.
Okay. Excellent, thanks.
Anything else from council? No? Okay, thank you for your time, I appreciate that, and, we'll be in touch, I'm sure, again and again.
Great, thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on, do we have a staff sergeant on?
He's coming.
Oh, he's here, okay. come on in, Staff Sergeant.
Thank you.
Front and center?
Front and center, yeah.
There we go.
You're in the hot seat. So, yeah, the floor is yours, you got, 10-ish minutes, or however much time you need to, just tell us what's going on.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for having me. I think it's my first time here in person, long time on, virtual. Yeah, the good news is I've reviewed these yesterday, and, apart from traffic offenses down, like they're down -24, and charges are down -7, warnings as well. Everything else is looking actually very good, especially, crimes against property are down -4, and mischiefs are down, break and enters, 1 to 3 is pretty close. And crimes against persons to 0, so nothing too exciting there. Are you guys still doing the commissionaires?
Yeah, we're
Right.
active in that, and I believe that we boost that up to double time.
I'll have to check with our EDO, but, I believe we've been in negotiations with the commissioners to be able to provide more patrol.
Oh, okay. So right now it's Fridays and Saturday nights?
And Sundays.
And
I think
Sundays.
it's the whole weekend coverage,
You know what the hours are?
11 till 5-ish.
Oh, wow.
Over.
Yeah, I spoke to one of the commissioners as well, who came to my office a few weeks ago and spoke about that. What they're trying to do is get involved with more things that can help us out, like, for example, if we have a murder, and we haven't had in a while, but if we get something like that where we have to, keep the scene, have scene security, we used to tie up members for that, or CMP members, try to schedule members, they can do that now for us, which is a great relief. It was always, every time we had one of these, it was never really about the investigation itself, it was more about keeping the security of the scene, and, it was always a challenge for us, but now they've stepped up, and they've always been there for us to do things like, you know, fingerprinting and things like that, but now they're expanding a heck of a lot more. They have plans to, for us to have like a one-stop shop as far as getting guards to help us as well. Sometimes we've had, a lot of challenges trying to find people to guard. When it's going well, there's never any problems. It's, you know, sometimes our guards some are snowbirds that take off for the season and things like that, so, it's difficult for us to find them. Now it'll be just one number to call, and they'll start locally and spread out until they're done with the problems, and find someone to come and help us guard. So that helps us a lot, and they're even looking at to get specially trained members now to help us with, mental health cases. So, again, for example, if we have someone under arrest under the Mental Health Act that wants to harm themselves, we bring them to a facility like a hospital. Most of the time, there is no one to guard that person there, so we stay there. And it's not uncommon for us to stay anywhere between 4 to 23 hours. And trying to get members to take up, the relief for that has been a big challenge. They're looking into doing that now. That's not done yet, but it takes a special designation for them. They said they can get it. So again, that's going to be a great help for us. So all that to say, I think that's a great program, what you guys have, and, it's incredible what these people can do, so very fortunate.
So have you, I know there was a break-in, when did Adventure get broken in last? 2 months ago, 3 months ago? Adventure Fire Products in Illusion was broken into, and, commissioners wasn't there, but CRU was. Have you
Yes.
been in touch, you connected with the CRU?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, I was just making sure that you guys were in
Yes.
contact, so that's good.
Yeah, that's a little bit, we wanna just be careful with that because we don't, that's outside of what the commissioners do.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's a great program myself. It's just that it'd be a little risky,
Mhm.
because they actually started to, contain the guy.
Yeah.
Have flashlights out and actually order him and tell him, don't move, the police is coming, this type of thing. So it gets a little dangerous.
Yeah.
So, we're still you know, willing to speak with people and, try our best to make sure that things are safe, but it's not driven by us, it's a community.
No, 100%, it's based out of Lachey and Grand Point.
Yeah.
I was just wasn't sure, because they used to have pagers, right? And then the alarm systems would go off, they would get a
Yeah.
call, and then the RCMP would be notified that CRU is on scene, is that how that works?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I was
So
just
they're paged directly from the alarm company.
Yeah.
What's exciting with them is the systems they have, one person actually monitors 90 screens, and they have, built-in recognition systems where they can recognize whether it's a deer, a dog, or a human.
Okay.
And if a human picks it up, it automatically launches, the call to the pagers. So they get the call in real time where we get, you know, maybe 20 minutes later, as the case was in Lachey.
Right.
So I guess you see you guys were there for half an hour long, and we're the cops. So we're only as fast as the call to get there. But,
No, I'm just making sure that you guys are still in liaison with the series, that's good.
absolutely. And I don't know if any other communities were involved, or are involved.
I think CRU only works out of Grand Point and Lachey, but it's just 9 guys from those towns, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Tremendous effort.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to be careful on,
Mhm.
you know, with things like that. You know, the last thing we want is to recommend something because it works.
Yeah.
And people get hurt, and we should be aware of liabilities.
Right. I was just asking. No, excellent. Anything from council, will we have Pearson here?
I'm just wondering, like, for the needs that you guys are looking for, like, if we have whatever, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever the times are, like, is there flex time on these?
It's just like one or two patrol drives around between those hours throughout the night for, I think, up to 8 hours, and they go from town to town to town to town to town to town.
So if we need a guard something on a Tuesday, like, do they have that flexibility, or?
Yeah, that's a commissioner's question, but, Mitch works with them and Dominic works with them pretty closely, so.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mitch.
If you need that extra service, it would be an add-on
Yeah.
service, so it wouldn't be an issue to get them, but there's a financial cost to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I've got one quick
Sure, yeah.
Speeding in the Main Street on St. Adolph's still pretty,
Okay.
pretty atrocious. It's mostly, I find it during commuting time in the morning or on the evening, especially now that, the school buses, have a cutoff limit in the north development, so there's more kids crossing at 200 and 210. There is one crossing guard with some signs on the ground, but there's a lot more rolling stops, and I think it's a concern that it's gonna be a tragedy waiting to happen there. So I was wondering if you guys would be able to, or if you have a plan to maybe help, enforcement on speeding, especially on Main Street, or, watching that intersection there to see.
What's the times?
Usually I find most times you see ripping through here, it's kind of,
Rush hours, so
Yeah.
8 to 9, 3 to 5.
8 to 9, 3 to 5, guys, 7 to 9.
it's just,
I have a copy.
yeah, Main Street's just so busy with all the commuters now from all the other communities, because it's the only crossing onto the 75 there, so we're getting tons of traffic through, and especially now with school back in session, there's so many more young kids on the roads and stuff, and
Yep,
so I just wanted to make sure that was brought forward.
It'll be addressed. yeah, don't you worry about that.
Thanks.
And you've got the speeding issues in Grand Point still?
Not too much in Grand Point, more of, Red River Drive. It seems like it's quite up, and I know because it's a long stretch, and it's a 60 zone, and then it goes to 80, but people just like go down there. I see it's up quite high, like 24 as opposed to 14 last year, so, I don't know what the solution is there, just more presence, or, I don't know.
Right, we've got, 3 more members that just come in from Depot, 3 cadets, we got them all within about a month of each other. So, there's a process there again where they're trained for 6 months. They've got to be close supervision for the first few months, and, so it's kind of they shadow basically the trainer or the coach for the first, 2 or 4 months. It's a process, but we're getting closer to having, members of this. But I can get my same traffic,
I was gonna say, once you finish yours,
Yeah.
go over.
Oh, yeah.
Do a loop.
Absolutely.
Excellent, okay.
Yeah, they're more, the ones we have are concentrated now for perimeter and priority there. But I have some that are, one that's based out of my office every morning, and as he goes, so that can be part of his, paper route there, there's no problem.
Perfect.
What about, I think it comes from lunch, what about an opportunity with photo radar? Is that something that you see in rural municipalities ever, or is that something that could happen?
The only place I've seen it is Winnipeg, because there's a process with the bylaw. So there has to be a bylaw created, and then from there, it has to be, like, instilled, I guess, I don't know the terms for that. But if you get a hold of the city of Winnipeg, they're the only ones in Manitoba doing that right now, because there's a law that has to be.
I'm just, yes, I knew that also though, because it's a provincial road, do we need to work with the province coinciding to?
That's probably a good idea.
Do they allow photo radar on provincial routes? That was my next question.
Not that we are, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's gotta be passed, the law has to be passed.
Currently, no, the province actually allowed, they have to legislate that Winnipeg could actually do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like, they can't even set that up on the perimeter right now, even the parts that are inside the city.
So we'd have to create a bylaw and then bring it to the province would have to approve it, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a process, I guess, so.
Yeah,
It's interesting that no other municipalities have done it, so
they've probably tried.
they probably
They can't
tried.
be the first schmucks to try something.
Well, yes, we can.
Yeah, it's something, it's an opportunity we could try. And then just, this is nothing to do with, crime, but if there's ever like a social event or an activity, is there a contact number? So like, a parade in town, do we contact you directly? There's a-
absolutely.
Okay, just the office or?
The office number, yeah, we can just ask for me, and then we can,
Okay.
I can make sure that we attend for that, if we can. A lot of times we'll say yes, and then we get calls.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
And do you need notice, like 30 days out?
Yeah, that really helps, and then, we'll do the best that we can.
Okay, I appreciate that. Just curious. Anything else from?
Are we at a full complement in St. Pierre right now?
I have one, still on a pat leave, and those are the ones that are more difficult, because they can happen at any time.
Mhm.
And members are allowed up to 18 months. And they're not replaced, so that's the hard part. So I think at one time had like one mat leave and two pat leaves at the same time, so it's hard. That's the hard part, not knowing the.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, just one, that's,
We haven't been there for a while, that's awesome.
yeah, so it's looking good with the new, cadets there, so. And they're from all over, I have one guy who's, originally from Poland, and his wife as well, Canadian, and, one girl from Montreal, and, from Haiti, so, yeah, it's a wide range of experience.
One other quick question. As your numbers grow in St. Pierre, has there been any thought, or has there been anything spoken about the satellite office opening up closer to the towns in Rashad now, or anything like that?
No, not here. We have Niverville that's gonna open on a municipal contract on April 1st. So we have 3 new constables and a corporal. That'll be 4 members. And that bumps me up a level, so now I'll have a sergeant as well. So that's like, it's getting 5 new members because of the municipal contract with Niverville. They hit a certain number of population, and, have, policing.
So, and just to be clear on that, that's still St. Pierre Detachment?
Yes.
Based in Niverville as a satellite, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there's still our members as well?
So we'd have access to that, or not?
Yes, it's, the final details are still being ironed out as far as
Yeah.
working as a post system. So in other words, if with 4 members, it's difficult for Niverville to have 24/7 policing, you can't do it. And with pat leaves and training and things, there'd be days there would be nobody there. So then we would still take calls for service in Niverville, and vice versa. If we're short on our end, they can help out, move back and forth this way, and help each other out.
I just wanted to clear that, because someone said that's not the case, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works, is your main office would still be out of St. Pierre, so.
That's right. There's no cells in
Exactly.
Niverville, and there's no secure parking or anything like that, so it's, bit of a storefront, I guess.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a detachment with, place for members to work out with.
Yeah.
And a front counter, so people can come in there and request services and, criminal record checks and things like that.
Excellent. No, good to know. Anything else from council?
No, it's great.
Yeah, no,
Good to
thank
see
you.
numbers down.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it, Steph.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Item 6.1.1, Deer Ridge, release letter of credit and assume ownership of infrastructure. Do I have a mover? Councillor Boulanger, second. Councillor Pelletier.
This is in regards to the Deer Ridge development in Grand Point, just north of the Grand, for our newly elected members. In the development, the developers are required to put down a letter of credit for infrastructure in case something goes bad and we have something to fall on to do the repairs. In this situation here, Public Works Manager went out and did final inspection with the engineers. There were no deficiencies noted, so therefore we can now take over ownership after a year of warranty work. And releasing the letter of credit in the amount of $98,000 for this case here.
It's based on a percentage?
It is.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. 6.2.1, September 2022 building permit reports. Do I have a mover? Councillor Boulanger, second. Councillor Lemoine.
For the month of September, we are a bit behind of 2021 numbers. So for September, we had 19 permits, $4 million worth of assessment construction, bringing in permit fees of $11,000. And for a total of 193 permits, $47.5 million in assessment construction, and $138,000 in fees. And again, just slightly behind the 2021 numbers.
Thank you very much. Is there questions from council? Still a strong number. Can't complain.
Can't complain. 2021 was a banner year, so it's probably our plateau. Not that we're gonna start sliding, I hope, but it's hard to, they just kept going up and up and up, and I'm sure it's gonna stop at some point.
Okay, that's it. Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. And adjournment. We'll call for a mover. Councillor, 1 second. Councillor Bondarchuk.
Nobody wants to go.
Yeah, nobody wants to leave. Trust me, I'll have many of these. Any final thoughts? I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. That's carried. I'll close the meeting at 9:45 a.m. Welcome to the club. Thank you.